Well, I say my whole thing is this. So looking at both shows, I think the scores, in my opinion, if I was an adjudicator, would be somewhat skewed because certain elements of what one band had, the others didn't. So I can't rate you off of color guard because the J sets are not color guards. Cool, right? And that's been kind of some of our issues this year. Some bands have been receiving auxiliary scores, but not dancing scores, and vice versa. Um, but I must say this: A&T show had a complete show, but I don't believe that they outmarched Jackson State, and that takes, in my opinion, that you should have took some points off. That's just my opinion. Not saying that the drill that A&T did was bad or anything, because Gary did an outstanding job for the staging. However, the drill and the energy of marching that Jackson State exhibited, mm, they outmarched A&T. However, then on the flip side, A&T had a drum feature. Jackson State didn't. So when you look at those particular elements, how can you really judge it? So, I
Mhm.
mean, I know you're supposed to bring your A game, right? I know you're supposed to bring your A game. So you can't be mad at one that they provided it and then the other ones didn't. It's kind of like court. If you brought your evidence, but then the defendant didn't, that's your fault,
Is a
right?
drum feature a requirement though? I was just about to
No,
ask
it's
that,
not.
Portia.
Well, we
But
don't
It's
know.
not.
We don't
we
know.
that's what I was about to say. We don't know. We don't know.
But
But here's a question, Quan.
mhm.
Because I don't disagree with you and what you said. My question would be, did that hinder the execution of the drill though?
What, the drum feature
Their
or
energy
the
in marching, did that hinder their execution of their drill?
no? It enhanced it, of course, but it hindered North Carolina A&T's, in my opinion,
Okay.
because there are certain. If you're looking at their show, and I saw their show on the North Carolina A&T
Pay.
YouTube
Yeah.
page, right? So, but there are certain aspects. Well, they're just walking.
No, but see, again, I don't disagree with that. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, because I don't know if A&T uses a dot or not. But if I'm saying what I'm saying is, did that hinder squad A to get from one set to the other in the right time? By the time they were supposed to be there on count 16, were they there on count 16?
So from that point of view, no. I mean, I did see that there's one section where the left side, yeah, like the left side was there first, and then the right
Mhm.
side wasn't. Now, I don't know if that was intentional because I don't,
Fair.
we haven't seen the drill, and we don't have the score sheet, so we didn't see none of that. However, for as a person that's looking at the collegiate level of band, even though North Carolina was have a mixology of marching style,
Mhm.
because there's when they're in front, they're picking up their legs, they're like marching 90s, but then there's certain aspects when, of course, they're marching, what is that, east to west, I believe,
Mhm.
east to west, the bell front, but then when they were hitting their line straight, 8 to 5, they were walking. And so, from my opinion, I'm thinking, well, shouldn't they be doing a roll step? Because sometimes they do, the lift and core style marching backwards. So there's certain nuances if you're going to execute those things. I didn't see some of those marching fundamentals for those style being executed.
That's fair.
So I would have taken that
That's
off
fair.
just overall. But again,
We don't know if that
I'm
was in the
not
judge's criteria or not. Yeah.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because another judge could have been like, well, they executed 2 to 3 different styles of marching, so I'm going to give them, extra points for that.
Mhm.
But in all actuality, we could have said, well, Luke could have been like, well, you attempted it, which I'll give you 1 point, but you didn't execute it well, so I'll take a point
That's
back.
true.
So then it just depends. So that's my point of view. But when you look at Jackson State from top to bottom, they had energy all the way through, and overall sound of Jackson State is impeccable. And I know we people clown, and this is just a joke, but I know we clown about audio visual stuff for A&T. Let me say this: on every single video, Showtime Web, all of the other YouTube pages, Jackson State sounds the same. Again, I'm not discrediting A&T. Let's be clear. But what I'm saying is they sound the same on every video.
I mean, but and I think that's a valid argument, and I'm not taking that argument away. But here's the problem, right? There's only 2 clips of A&T, and everybody else who recorded everybody else is out there, right? The 2 clips are the one A&T video, and I think it's A1. My problem with that is I agree. If I listen to A&T's video, it sounds different from A1's video. But even on A1's video, A&T doesn't sound bad. And I think that's,
Yeah,
and I'm not
we're
saying
not
you're saying they
bad.
sound bad. Let me clarify that. But I'm just saying it for me, it's just kind of, because I agree with what you're saying. Jackson sounds the same the whole way, but A&T doesn't sound bad on either video. So both of them still sound good. So I think it all just kind of still boils down to preference. I think if I prefer to hear Jackson's sound over A&T sound, or Jackson's versions of arrangements over A&T's arrangements, then I'm probably going to lean towards one of those sides, depending on what I prefer to hear.
So, not to extend it any further, but I have a question for you. Which arrangements were more technical?
Depends on the song. Because I personally appreciated A&T's intro a lot.
With his heat wave?
I just thought that their intro to their drill was really good. The Boogie Night drill, I thought it was cool. It was well executed. It was well arranged, but I preferred Jackson's drill tune more. So if that makes sense, it may not, but I thought that Jackson's blowing joint was dope. I thought it was a dope thing, but from a sound perspective, I preferred A&T's intro. So it just depends, it just depends on what it is, depending on what they're playing.